All right, everybody, welcome back to another Corona Geek On Air Hangout show. The show all about mobile development using the Corona SDK. And it says now our broadcast video is live, so that's awesome. Let's go around and do a round table so everybody can introduce themselves. We didn't really get a chance to do that last time. I think that we probably should have. So, Brian, if you would kick us off and basically introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Brian Burton. I'm a professor, an author, and a Geekus Maximus.
Geekus Maximus. Now you wrote what was your book? Tell me the title of your book.
The title is Beginning Mobile App Development with Corona, and it's all about getting started with the Corona SDK, how to make games, how to make apps. It's really designed for the person that's just getting started with the whole SDK and how to get things going.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and you have a couple of editions of that, right? Isn't that the case?
And there's two versions of it. There's one that's for use in the classroom, and that's the Beginning Mobile App Development with Corona. And then there's one for everybody else that doesn't want to use it in the classroom, and that's Mobile App Development with Corona.
Okay. Yeah, I purchased the one that was the teacher's edition is what I like to call it. That way I would have all the answers in the book and I could cheat. No. All right, and Toff, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Let's see. Pretty much I program. I'm trying to think of what else I've done. Oh, I don't know, jack of all trades, but really master of none. I like playing with all languages. I like playing with just about everything. Tons of web type stuff, but this is a really new foray for me that I'm actually getting into mobile apps. I haven't really done mobile apps before, but when enough clients go, "Can you do that mobile app?" I go, oh, yes, as a matter of fact, give me 2 weeks and we'll figure out how to do a mobile app. And that's actually how I stumbled across Corona. Well, okay, I stumbled across Corona because when I asked you, how do we do mobile apps, you went, oh, well, look at Corona. And I went, so that's a stumbling kind of thing for me as far as I'm concerned. So consequently, I really like the idea of rapid application development using somebody else's framework because I really don't want to have to go learn Objective-C. I mean, how much time do I really want to spend? I got a client who says, I want an app in a week. And I go, let's see, how long does it take to do Objective-C and have all of that bugs worked out? Or I can use this really cool framework. And that's really how I jumped into Corona, is just having the ability to immediately start working and seeing a product.
Okay, well, very good. Well, I'm Charles McKeever, and I don't have a lower thirds, but that's just because Google Hangouts wasn't cooperating with me. I'm a developer, been a developer for a long time, and like you, Toff, I wanted something that I didn't have to learn Objective-C, I didn't have to learn Java SDK, I didn't have to learn, all these different flavors of things. And I've done mobile development in the background in the previously, so I've got a little more. I guess I got an extra few miles on you there, but it's been a long time, and the landscape has changed because now we've got all these smartphones, and we've got a variety of different devices. And back in the day, it was just really Microsoft was really the platform that there was to develop for, unless you wanted to develop for a postage stamp size screen, and so now it's it's all about how much you can develop without having to learn every platform out there, and that's why I like the Corona SDK. So very good. So okay, so we've got kind of an introduction of everybody, who we are and what we where our backgrounds are and stuff like that. And I definitely call myself a Corona newbie. I don't profess to know any more than I've read so far. So I bought Brian's book. I bought a couple other resources. I read online avidly. I'm subscribed to the Corona Labs blog, and so it's really more of an enthusiast and just a passion for the topic than anything else. So that's really what this show is all about, as well, is really getting into the mobile development with Corona, and we kind of want to just bring all these resources together so that you can keep up with what's going on, because everything changes so fast. It just seems like everything's coming out on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, and that's what we want to kind of pull it all together and make it a good resource for the Corona community. So, with all that being said, if you don't know much about Corona, you should go over to the coronalabs.com website. They've got a lot of documentation over there. They've got a lot of resources. They have a developer forum. You can download the SDK for free and try it out. It's a great resource, and they've got a lot of good stuff over there. So do be sure to go check that out. Now, last week we talked about, what did we talk about last week? We had bug fixes for the Android Jelly Bean devices. We talked a little bit about that. Storyboard versus director class. We kind of talked a high level over what storyboard is and what it does and why you should use the official API versus the director, the third-party director class. And let's see what else we have here. And we talked about the new iPhone and how that might affect developers, especially for Corona, since Corona does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So that was kind of what we covered last week. So Toff, if you would, please tell us what we're going to cover this week.
Absolutely. As always, we're going to talk some of the announcements for Corona, give you a highlight of the notes for the latest build, because you always want to know those. I have a particular question, not client app, but basically a app that I want to build because I like this stuff. So we're going to talk about that. Is a newbie question basically, but how do I do this kind of thing? It's an awesome question. You definitely want to see that. Next up would be some of the API references. We have an app review this week. So Little Generals, we're just going to cover that little app. Talks about some devices. And as always, we have an API spotlight where we're going to talk a little bit about creating table views. So on that note, who wants to kick this off with the latest build notes?
Brian, you can go ahead. No, I'm just messing with you. I just went out and looked at them.
Hey, there's a new build out there.
hey! I just went out there and looked at them like 10 minutes ago myself. So I'm assuming that you haven't gotten around to that. So I'll take that one. Basically, the release notes aren't all that sexy for this week. They kind of talk about the Mac simulator again, and that they said it says literally another workaround for intermittent relaunch crash. So that's kind of the gist of it. I think they're working a lot on trying to shore up the differences between versions of things. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of discussion right now on the Corona SDK or the Corona Labs blog about which versions of things they're going to support, and so I think that's causing them a little bit of headaches. But they're working on it and getting that worked out. Which kind of leads into our Corona announcements. And if you haven't seen the blog post entitled "Supporting Different OS Versions," it's definitely a good read. It's have you guys seen that? I know Toff has, because I made him read it. Have you seen that one, Brian?
No, I haven't had a chance to read that one.
It's a very good read. It's a good behind the scenes look at what Walter and the team are having to put up with, or having to work around, or whatever how you want to couch it. But they're basically, they've got Mountain Lion came out. There's all that going on, and then they've got differences between iOS versions, and then they've got differences between all the Android versions. So all the recent changes Google's made with Jelly Bean announcing that and launching that out into the wild. And so basically, the guys at Corona Labs are working hard to make sure that everything works, because on the back side, what we see on the front side is that, hey, here's this API and you just use this and you can write your program. But on the back side, is this is Objective-C, is the Java SDK, is all this stuff, and these guys are plumbing it all together so that there's a nice clean API on the front side, and all you have to do is snap things together to make your application work. But apparently there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's really hairy from an engineering standpoint.
Oh, they had one question on there I really liked. As a guy was going, we have some really old Macs that, why can't you support them? And the response was, well, we'd love to, but Apple's not going to support them. You know, the company that you bought the Macs from is not supporting that OS anymore. So really makes it tough for us to support that iOS. I thought that was great.
And God said the humans are no longer supported.
Exactly. Sorry. That's humans 1.0. We don't do that.
We don't do those anymore. We're on to aliens now. Yeah, so they said that the Walter even came out because it was the blog post was put out, you know, kind of a state of everything put out by Walter, and he says that he says the next public release is going to officially support Mountain Lion 10.8, which I thought was a very important piece. But he also went on to kind of highlight the fact that that he says, I'm going to read it verbatim here. He says, we've decided to stop fighting Apple's policy. If you can't beat them, join them. And will be more aggressive about dropping support for older versions of Mac OS X and iOS. Loosely speaking, we will aim to support the last two major iOS versions because consumer upgrade adoption rates have been extremely high. However, depending on features introduced and bugs fixed in the latest version of the OS, we may decide that it makes more sense to just release the most recent previous version, and we'll of course give you fair warning if that's the case, and if you guys give us reasons to make a course correction, we will. So I think that was, that was kind of right there in the middle of the article, but I thought that was a pretty important note.
So if you're still using Leopard, it's time to upgrade.
It is time to upgrade, right? Exactly. And then you know, there are a lot of people who are still using Leopard, you know, and yeah, no, you're not using Leopard, but yeah, but there are, you know, like I moved to Mountain Lion as soon as it came out, which was good and had some issues. I did have a few issues.
And the reason why I haven't moved to Mountain Lion just yet.
Yeah, but and then I quickly moved to the upgrade, which came out like yesterday. Yeah. So anyway, that's important. I think that's an important announcement. You know, that's something that's definitely will affect developers, and they need to know that. And I think it's really from the standpoint of what we're talking about on that side of things is your emulator, right? It's going to run or not run on your machine. So I mean, you could still write a game. It's just a matter of whether or not you can bring it up in the simulator and test it on the computer. So you could still write an entire application, compile it
for the Android side.
Oh yeah, for the Android side. Yeah. Well,
now, if you're trying to publish to the iTunes store, you're going to have to get the newer version of Xcode. Okay. And that's going to require the newer operating system.
So it's going to push you any way to do it anyway. So it's not it's not necessarily
Apple's pushing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not necessarily a Corona Labs or Corona issue. It's Apple is pushing, and I think he even goes on to say something like that somewhere in here that oh yeah, he says, and I thought this was pretty telling. He says Apple has been particularly forceful with pushing developers to the latest OS version. Gone are the days when a user could count on using a Mac for 10 years. So, you know, I know that was one of the reasons why I converted to the Mac was because everybody I talked to, well, one of the reasons, yeah, but everybody I talked to said, you know, yeah, I've had my Mac for 10 years and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, people loved them and they didn't upgrade unless there was a reason to. And now there's a reason to. Because Apple's pushing it. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting. So okay, so those are the Corona announcements today. They're the pretty important ones. So let's move on to the newbie question. Toff, this is all you.
I do. Here, let me share my window here.
Okay, what we got there?
Okay, so what you're looking at is well, it's not really Skyrim, but it's a mapping app for Skyrim. So consequently, what you can do is you can click and zoom in on the map, zoom out on the map, click on a city, and it will actually bring up like an extra little mini map just for that city and give you brief outlines and give you all sorts of good stuff. Well, I like maps in general. So I'm trying to figure out immediately how do I do something similar to this? Not necessarily identical, because some of the stuff they do is not exactly what I want, but just in general, how do you create a map, zoom in, zoom out, and click on a city to get a different, say, more detailed city view with some information? So I'm hoping that Brian can at least just give us a quick lowdown on that, because we don't want to take like, you know, hours for this, but just a quick little hint about how we might go about that.
Well, I'm glad I had some warning to research this before I actually tried to just talk about this off the top of my head. Because first I thought, well, we'll just simply use the mapping feature. But when I started really analyzing what Toff is wanting to do here, the mapping feature doesn't really lend itself to that. The approach that I would recommend for this is create the different versions of the map as PNG files, which makes it universally compatible across Corona, whether you're going to publish to Android or iPhone or iPad or whatever the case might be. And I would create layers of the map. Playing with the app, it's got roads on it that you can show. It's got secondary trails. You can tap on it to open up cities, all kinds of really neat features. Well, I would create this as PNG files and then overlays that are set with the alpha. The roads are going to be set with an alpha of 0 to begin with, and then when you want to show them, turn them on. Turn it to 100, and you'll be able to see everything. I would create the cities as a button and tap on it and have it open up then the map for the button. So it'd be a combination of PNG files, a few buttons, and then using Storyboard to go to a new screen to show the inside of the city.
Okay.
That's how I think I would approach it.
Is that when you're talking about scrolling? So I've got this much that I can see. So is there? I mean, how am I scrolling back and forth? Or are you talking about just being able to see a map that's only that big?
I would use the scrolling tools that are built into Corona so that you can scroll real easily.
Okay.
And you could build in pinch events or expand events so that you could get a closer up view. If you wanted to really zoom in on an area, the map that Toff shared with me was really interesting. He had continents on it, and you could do a more detailed view of that so that when you got to a certain expand size, it automatically reloaded a new image and went to a higher detailed image.
Okay, Toff, is that the map you were working on, the app that you were working on?
Yes, that was what I was looking at. Like I said, I'm going to have to convert that to Storyboard, it sounds like, because I originally had just done it as different screens with a tab bar, and so it was kind of clunky, wasn't really working for me, so that's why I'm asking for hints of how should I do this.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, and I like the tip there about the overlays on the PNGs. I never would have thought to be able to turn the roads on and off. You know, kind of the satellite view versus the street view, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I definitely like that.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I like that too. Okay, so Toff, you're going to put together an in-depth tutorial on that so that we can.
I have to get it working first, but yeah, once I actually get something working and up and running, then we can work on tutorials.
Yeah, let's put that up on the Corona Geek website. That way maybe we can share it out and get some feedback, get some ideas.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure everybody's gonna want a map. I mean,
make it a community project.
There you go. Ooh, open source.
Yeah. See, I like it. We can put it up on. We can link to it from Corona Geek, but we'll put it up on. What's the? Help me out, Brian. What's some of the file share places?
GitHub or
GitHub.
Dropbox, something like that.
Yeah, GitHub. Yeah, we could. Yeah. Okay, so okay, let's move on then. Corona blog highlights. So basically, if you haven't had a chance to go out and see the guided tour of the Corona API reference, Corona Labs, they put out a blog post on that and kind of gave a quick overview of what you could expect in the API. So when they went, so a little backstory on that is it's been what, couple months now since they revamped their website. Something like that?
Yeah, back in June, I think, is when the relaunch happened.
Okay, yeah. So they relaunched their website, and they essentially tried to not reorganize things, but they tried to bring some things up to the top, and they tried to make some things better. And yeah, here, let's click on that. Let me click on that
Yeah, it's right there. I
while
mean,
I'm talking.
essentially, they've got it really nicely laid out where, each of the different sections are highlighted and if you want to do, say, events, then you've got events, and same thing with, any of the type stuff. Like, for instance, for my particular interest would be down here, storyboard. So
And
if
there
I
you
want to
go.
learn about storyboard, they got all the really cool stuff right there.
Yeah, which I really like. I like what they've done here. They've kind of broken it all out to where it's it's stupid simple. As far as because like I said, as someone new to Corona, I need it all kind of broken out as to what does this do, what is this for, what category is this in, and that helps a lot. And then I know that for the daily builds, they're also publishing an updated version of the documentation that relates specifically to that build. So if there's something in there that is not published to the general public, because then it's in that API with the daily build. So for anybody who doesn't know, if you go to Corona Labs, you can download the SDK, you can use it, you can see the documentation, all that kind of stuff like that. But if you want to get the cutting edge stuff, things that they're working on that they're brand new, then you have to be a paid developer, and you get access to the daily builds, and you get access to the updated documentation and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's I really like where they're going there. It seems like it's better organized, it's up to date, and I really like being able to download the latest and greatest whenever it comes out. Anybody else
Yeah.
got any thoughts on that?
No, it works.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then to the app review. This will be our first app review. Has anybody played with Little Generals?
Not yet.
Little,
You're it.
I'm it. Okay. Good. I'm the guinea pig. Okay. So Little Generals by Smarter Apps is available in the Apple iOS App Store, and it's a free download, which is always awesome. I love being able to download stuff and play with it before I buy anything. And essentially, it's kind of like Risk. And remember the DOS game with the bananas, the monkeys and the bananas, where you threw it was like a trajectory game where you had two monkeys that were each on a building, and they would throw bananas at each other and try to hit each other. You never played that?
You played different games than I did.
Oh, come on, man. I go way back. You didn't? Did you
Text-based games, yeah.
Did you solder your first computer together? No. Okay, never mind.
Tape drive, yes.
Yeah, so Little Generals is a kind of a smash up between Risk and this banana game where you're basically throwing bananas at each other, try to knock each other out. But instead of monkeys and bananas, you have tanks, and you're trying to shoot missiles on a trajectory to knock out your enemy. If you'll scroll to the right there, Chris, you can show some of those screenshots. But so really what you're doing is you start out, it gives you a map, you click on a region that's close to you, and then you decide whether or not you're going to attack that region or not. And so to some elements of, like, you have some elements of Risk that if you lose the battle, then you're going to deplete your resources and you're going to give up ground to an enemy. And then as you begin to win more battles, yeah, see there you are, kind of the hills in between each other, they shoot each other. And so as you begin to win battles, you earn Warbucks. Now, when the game starts out, you get a certain number of Warbucks, and you can use those to buy missiles and tanks and all these other things. But it really kind of lends itself to where the game is just enough of a taste that at some point you have to do something, whether that's you have to be really good at the game and win Warbucks, or you have to buy in-app purchase. You have to buy Warbucks so that you can buy bombs, so you can buy tanks and things like that. Alternatively, which I think is really creative on their part, is they also have social media built into it. So if you will tweet or like them on Facebook, then you get a certain number of Warbucks that you can use in the game. So I think that's a really smart thing on their part, because you can download the app for free, you can enjoy it, you can tell other people about it, and then when you're completely invested in the game and you know that it's your thing, then you have an option of being able to move to the in-app purchase. So I'd really like to get them on the show and ask them, how they came up with that idea and how it's working for them and those types of things. So that would be cool.
Well, the in-app purchases is a huge trend where you give the game away for free to get you hooked, and then basically you earn your money on the back end by people earning, buying crystals or credits or Warbucks or whatever. I mean, that's actually been very popular trend.
Yeah, and I think it's a great distribution model because there's zero risk. There's no friction. If I want to download something, install it, and try it out, I can, and then the developer doesn't have to create a trial version and a full version. You don't have to get into that kind of mess. They can just say, here's my version, and when you want to get to that point where you're going to, like I said, be completely invested in it, you can make some sort of purchase. So that's a pretty good game. So it was fun. I was a little confused when I started out with it. It was they kind of have these on-screen prompts that kind of tells you where everything is and what's going on. But I opened the app completely. I didn't read the what the app was about or anything like that. I just knew it was one of the new Corona apps, and I wanted to try it out and give it a review. And in the beginning, I was a little confused as to what was going on, but it didn't take me very long to get the gist of it. So I overall give this like a 9.5 stars. If I had been a little less confused in the beginning, it would have gotten 10. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. So, but it's definitely worth the trying it out. So it's good. It would be good in the car for the kids on a road trip or something like that for sure. All right, let's move on to device news. So, anybody heard about the Apple versus Samsung verdict?
Just $1 billion. Billion?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a pretty good chunk. I think, though, that it's a small price to pay on Samsung's part in order to be, associated with Apple. And be able to make a buttload of money otherwise. So no risk. I don't think there's a whole lot of risk on their part there. Anybody else? Any other opinions?
It comes down to the whole patent system, and there are some definite problems with our current patenting system. I saw one of my former students posted something about someone who had created a patent for satellites and being able to hook them up, and basically it was just all based on physics, math, and gravity. So somebody has now patented gravity.
Sweet.
And so you're going to have to pay to use it.
Well, that was one of the things I heard was that how can you patent, how can you have a lock on rectangles with rounded corners?
Right. Right.
I mean, really? So, I can understand why Apple's going out there and fighting for their territory or trying to, whatever they can get. I just want them to move past all the fighting and just make products, just
make better stuff instead of worrying about all these patents. Let's get the lawyers out of it and make cool apps and devices.
Yeah, exactly. Don't suck the fun out of it for sure.
That's right.
So speaking of which, Google's Nexus is selling pretty well. I mean, they opened up. It's available now in France, Germany, and Spain, which is very cool. And I don't know about you, but I saw a teardown that showed all the internal parts of the Nexus 7, and a lot of the things were similar to the Kindle Fire, which
Is
I
it
thought
the same size as your Kindle?
Roughly, yeah. I'm not sure about the actual screen dimensions, but it's supposed to be about that size, that 7-inch, device type thing. And so what I did was I went out and I rooted my Kindle Fire and loaded Jelly Bean on it. So I recycle.
Now you have a Nexus.
Now I have a Nexus. Yeah, I'm recycling. I don't have the front-facing camera, and I don't have a microphone and all those types of things. But hey, it's a 7-inch device that does most of everything else. So, but anyway, I kind of I'm interested in it. It looks like a very nice device. Very nice, and I think that's where where we're going to wind up going. Apple's got a lot of they have a battle on their hands just with that alone. I mean, there's so many different devices to compete with, and they're all running Android, so it's crazy.
The ship's tablet.
What's that?
It's a ship's tablet.
It's a ship's tablet. Yeah. We'll have to post a link to that to Quarter
Good old Ishmael.
Yeah. So iPad Mini. That's another rumored out there. It's supposed to be what is it? The device covers for the iPad Mini are starting to show up, which is always a kind of a clue that there's actually some significance or some credence to the rumors. And according to the rumor mill out there, October is when it's supposed to be announced. So there's a separate, I guess in September they're going to do the iPhone, and then in October they want to do the iPad. Kind of space it out and give it a little bit of,
chance to make more money before Christmas.
I guess so. It makes kind of sense, right? You don't want to steal the thunder on the iPhone, and then you can have a whole nother event for the iPad. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think those two devices though are going to be extremely important for Corona developers because they're in that 7-inch space, and the form factor is going to be very popular, and as more and more people buy tablets, that's going to be what they're going to be using. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Nathan Lowell's Quarter Share, it's a book series that you can actually get it on podcast as well, which is the way I recommend enjoying it. But all throughout the book, he talks about the ship tablet, or and how he can connect it to all the instruments throughout the ship, so he can monitor everything, and it's got he can study with it, he can pull up stats from the headquarters, all this kind of stuff, and so to me this was kind of prior to the tablet.
It was definitely one of those that it's science fiction, but really science fiction is getting really close to reality nowadays.
Yeah.
But the size, basically, of the Kindle Fire and the Nexus 7, and the fact that you could slave your tablet to whatever screen or monitor or do whatever you wanted to with it. It was like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But everyone on board had one of these things, so consequently, when the Nexus and the Kindle Fire and all those came out, you immediately think, oh, it's ship's tablet.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a very good story, a very good example, though, from a fictional standpoint of how it could just not just be a device, not just be a news reader or something to watch YouTube videos on, but a real practical, useful tool to get things done. And I think that's the key. Apps should be focused on what can you do with this? How can I maximize this device to really get the most benefit out of it? So anyway, all right, let's talk about. Let's just do our API spotlight real quick here and talk about the Widget API and specifically like table views. Like, what are they? What do they do? Why should you use them and stuff like that? So, Brian?
The table views was one of the exciting things that got people into using the iPhone and the iPad originally. Being able to show information, detailed information in a format that was easily to be viewed. So for an example, I'm a professor. I'm interested in my class list. And so I can alphabetically list all of the students that are in my class in a table view. And then I can tap on any of their names and get more detailed information, maybe their contact information or their course load or how they're doing in other courses or something like that, more detailed information. Okay. So the table view is just simply a widget that makes it simple to organize lots of information in a format that can be easily viewed. I played a little bit with the widget, the table view widget in my book, showing how to be able to pull up longitude and latitude of cities and locations. You could organize it. The first column or the first screen might be a list of the country that the person's talking about. Mm-hmm. And once you've selected your country, then you can select province or state and then city. And once you've got to the city, you can click on that and then see the detailed information about that.
Okay.
So that's basically what a table view does. It takes complex, organized, probably information that's in a database, and organizes it in a way that can easily be viewed for your user.
And this is akin to being able to scroll through, push and scroll through a list of items, right? Now how is that? That's different than the table in Corona, right? In Lua,
Right.
in Lua specifically.
In Lua specifically, Lua refers to tables, what most programmers would call an array.
Okay.
If you're used to calling something an array, in Lua it's referred to as a table.
Gotcha.
Which creates a little bit of confusion, and as long as you're aware of that, you should be okay. Go ahead and call it an array. Everybody will know what you're talking about.
Right, gotcha. So do you then though hook the table view to a table, or is there what's the data source on that?
You can do it either way.
Okay.
You can hook it to a database. You can hook it to an array or a table, whatever's convenient for you, so that you can get into it. And when we go deeper into the table view sometime in the future, we'll talk about how the Corona actually renders each row of the table view on demand.
Okay. Oh yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
that would be great to cover that.
Doing a full render.
Yeah, that would be great to cover that, because I know that I from playing with some of that stuff that you can, like you say, affect it on render and then have, I don't know, affect the layout or the look and feel of things or the properties of things on the fly, and that's pretty interesting. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes,
okay.
and the fact that you can add graphics and multiple lines of text, and the fact that you are rendering it on the fly gives you actually a great deal of control of what each row is going to look like.
Okay, and that's part of the Widget API. So now the Widget API though
Yes.
has what? It has sliders and
sliders and the scroll view, the picker, just all the tools that we've come to know and love from the Apple and Android are made available to us through the widget.
Okay, so yeah, so I haven't done a lot of Android development. So if I'm looking at, say, like the SDK for the iOS, then like you say, you have all those widgets, all those pieces that we're all familiar tapping on. That's all part of that Widget API.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts on that? Anything else we want to share, cover?
The last thing that we probably should mention with the widgets is that you do have control over how it's going to look through CS3.
Oh, okay.
You got cascading style sheets, and you can make it look the way you want it to look. Corona includes, see, Toff likes that idea. The exciting part of that is that they've already got it built in to look like Apple widgets, so you can just automatically use that. But if you've got your own look and feel that you want to include in it, just jump in, start doing your cascading style sheet, and have fun.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, that's I'm not the style sheet wizard that Toff is, but that I like that idea of being able to change the look and feel of it. I'm assuming you could do that. I mean, that's something you could do in the program on the fly, right? I mean, if you wanted to say,
yeah, it's actually encapsulated inside of a Lua code. So just set it as variables, and you can do all kinds of neat nifties.
So you could have multiple skins for an app then, if you wanted to say, hey, make it look like this, make it look like that.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. I'll post a link to it in the show notes too. Okay. Well, I think that's it then. If anybody else have anything to share that we want to? No.
I think we're good for now.
All right, then let's remind everybody that they can follow us on Google Plus, or follow us. They can circle us. Circling sounds so like cowboy and Indians.
Yeah, circle the wagons. Right.
But they can add us to their circle in Google Plus. They can like us on Facebook. They can follow us on Twitter. And if you have any questions about anything that we talk about during the show, or you want to suggest a topic, or maybe share a resource or anything, questions@coronageek.com. that'll go directly to one of us, and then we can take care of it from there. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Remember this is a weekly show, so every Monday at 2 o'clock you can come back here. We'll do a live on-air hangout, and you can join in the conversation if you like. And if you don't have time to be with us for whatever reason, you can always find us at coronageek.com. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. All right, broadcast has been successfully terminated. Good job, guys.
Yay.
Apart from the 25-minute blackout there, I think it's working pretty well.
Yes.
I'll have to go back to Android Authority and see what their show is like an hour long. So I'll have to go back and watch.
It must be recording it and then uploading it like what you've been doing.
Maybe so. I think that's probably the best policy. Leave it live and let anybody join who wants to join, and then just record it. Yeah, they have to. You're right. They have to, because they have an actual intro at the beginning of their show that they do, like a little music flashy thing. So they must.
So we're going to try and have Walter next week, or
I don't see why not.
Sounds good.
So I could always send out the invitation to him or whatnot and say, do you guys want to talk about a particular topic with him? What do you?
I think just the roadmap of where Corona is headed is what's going to have most people interested.
Okay. Corona roadmap. Okay.
That's always the most frequent question you see on the forums. When are we going to get this? Are we going to support the Surface? Are we?
Right. Well, people are already asking about Surface.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Good grief. Well, I guess
it's still vaporware, but we're asking.
Right. Well, I guess it makes sense though, because you want to be first, right?
Right.
Especially if they come out with their own app store or however they're gonna.
That's what the talk is, that they're going to have their own app store, and it's going to be a lot. They're modeling it a lot after the Apple system, which I'm sure is going to lead to other lawsuits. But it's
well, maybe so. But I know that Microsoft, of course, little that I've read, says that they're licensing from Apple.
Oh, okay.
So
they're going to avoid the whole lawsuit thing.
I think they basically they're trying to do that. Yeah. Now I'm sure if they blatantly copy something that Apple's doing, it could.
It's really just protection money.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
The mafia moved into the patent system.
Yeah.
just no. You need protection.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, Apple did go to again, from what I've read, Apple did go to Samsung and say, "Here's our figure. Here's what we think you should be paying," and Samsung said, "Take us to court." And so Apple did.
Oops.
Yeah. Which I think go back and look at the article to see if they came out better or worse, but I don't know. Now the conversation is, are they still infringing on their, or
yeah, because it was for the first devices, not the current.
Yeah, because now they've got the phablets, the big fat tablets and all this other stuff like that, and yeah, it's not nearly as blatant now. So again, like I said before, here's your $1 million. We're gonna go count our money over here. So
right.
So and I saw this interesting article. I don't know if you saw this. It wasn't even an article. It was a Google Plus status update, and this guy had said that he was sitting in a Starbucks, and that one with and I was like, I was physically nauseous. I read that in the car on the way to Dallas, and I told my wife, I said I feel sick. I feel sick because here's Apple trying to do whatever it is they're trying to do, and then now people are like, well, wait a minute. So Samsung's the same thing as Apple, and it's half the price. Did you read that, Toff?
Why did I spend all that money?
I did.
Yeah, why did I spend all that money? And I'm like,
I've been ripped off.
Steve.
A Yugo's got 4 tires and a steering wheel. It's got to be the same.
Right.
It's the same thing as a Ferrari, right? Yeah. Like,
I mean, really.
So yeah, there was that part. I was like, oh man. Okay, that's Steve Jobs is rolling over in his grave. My wife says I'm rolling over in my grave, and I'm not even dead yet. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on, and I'll send out something to Walter and see if we can hook up with him. And he said that Mondays aren't good for him. So, would you guys be open to a different day next week?
I could do Wednesday, but Tuesday and Thursday I teach all day. So
Okay. So if we could do like our regular show on Monday and then do a special session with him on Wednesday, would that work too?
Yeah.
Okay. That way we know we get something solid, and then we can always leave him kind of touch and go.
Right.
So, okay, cool. All right. Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Talk to you later.